What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be ranking the top 10 quarterback wide receiver duos in the National Football League for the upcoming 2024 season. So before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, follow my social media for more. Without further ado, let's get the video on. All right, so I'm going to be starting off at my number 10 spot, and I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. Now, the reason I'm putting them at number 10 is because they have not played very many games. Aaron Rodgers only played 4 snaps before obviously hurting his Achilles and being out for the rest of the year with a torn Achilles, having a surgery. But even without Aaron Rodgers, one of the best signal callers of all time and one of the best quarterbacks in this generation, Garrett Wilson's been able to put up back-to-back 1,000-yard um, receiving seasons, even with Zach Wilson at quarterback. And I think with Aaron Rodgers, he's definitely going to be making a big jump. He's going to be getting upwards of 1,500, maybe even closer to 1,600. Definitely getting more touchdowns. Getting more catches. And Rodgers, obviously, we know with his veteran presence, that team is going to become much better. So Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are in at the number 10 spot. All right, now moving on to the number 9 spot, I'm going to go with Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel. Now, we've seen what Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel can do ever since Purdy broke onto the scene in San Francisco in 2022. And obviously, Brock Purdy's go-to receiver is Brandon Ayuk, but his future is quite uncertain in San Francisco with the 49ers. So Purdy and Deebo Samuel definitely have the chance to make the ground shake, make a huge impact. And I think that Deebo can get back to that 1,000-yard receiver that he was. He was kind of playing under the shadow of Brendan Ayuk, and Ayuk was kind of taking over because of how good Ayuk and Purdy were. But now that Ayuk is likely gone, I think that Deebo Samuel definitely has a chance to take that big jump and be that wide receiver one that the Niners wanted when they drafted for him back in 2019. All right, now moving on to the 8th spot, I'm going with a new duo that just broke onto the scene is Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua. Now, we obviously know what Puka Nacua did this past year. He broke the rookie record for most receiving yards and most catches in a single season. And Matt Stafford is still that phenomenal quarterback, really good passer, obviously high passing volume. And the reason they're a little bit lower on the list, even though they had a really good year, they made the playoffs, is because Matt Stafford is getting up there in age. And, we've obviously seen what he can do, but because of his age, his future is uncertain. We don't know if he's a little still injury prone. Obviously, there's been issues of that in like the past couple of years. But this duo is definitely going to make an impact. They could definitely, I wouldn't be shocked if this team makes a wild card spot again after making one last year. But definitely something to keep an eye on is Matt Stafford's age and the question about his future in the NFL. Moving on to number 7 is Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. Now, Mike Evans is a lot of people are going to say one of the most, if not the most consistent receiver for the past couple years in the NFL. I mean, this guy was tied with Tyreek Hill for most touchdowns in the NFL. And I mean, Baker Mayfield is finally that QB that we've all been hoping for, that we've all been hoping we would see in Cleveland. And I mean, Tampa Bay has just become so much better even after Brady left. They're a really good team. And Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans are headlining their success, and I think they're deserving of a number 7 spot. All right, now moving on to number 6, we're going with another new duo, CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. Now, Nico Collins, obviously they drafted him way back when in 2020, I believe, and this kid's special. I mean, this kid almost had 1,300 receiving yards, and it's a stark contrast from 500 from 2022. We've obviously seen what CJ Stroud can do. He just won Rookie of the Year. He led the Texans to a division title with Nico Collins as his wide receiver one. And even with Stephon Diggs, the Texans acquiring Stephon Diggs, Stephon Diggs is going to provide sort of that veteran leadership that Nico Collins and CJ Stroud need. He's going to definitely help CJ Stroud. But I think CJ Stroud and Nico Collins are definitely that QB wide receiver one combo that Houston's been looking for many, many years. I think that this team is going to be really, really good. This team is definitely going to make an impact. So CJ Stroud and Nico Collins are going to be in that number 6 spot. All right, now moving on into the top 5. I have to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, what he's done ever since being drafted is absolutely phenomenal. And Jared Goff being acquired by the Detroit Lions has really helped him out. This team just came off of an NEC Championship game appearance, and I don't see this team stopping anytime soon. Amon-Ra St. Brown was first team All Pro. He had 1,500 receiving yards. He had 10 touchdowns, which is a really, really good number. Obviously, Jared Goff, we've seen what he can do. Really good offensive weapon for Detroit. And this team is giving myself and I feel like a few other people glimpses of the early days in the 2010s of Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson. Obviously, that was on a whole nother level, that duo. But this team has the ability to reach them, and it's sparking like talks about this team is going to be one of the best. And I think in the next couple of years they could even be top three. Obviously they have to grow a little bit more, but this team definitely has a lot of potential, and they're in the number 5 spot. All right, now so moving on to the number 4 spot, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Now, this team is heading into their third year together. AJ Brown just signed a really big 4-year contract extension with Philadelphia, and I don't see any signs of this duo stopping or slowing down anytime soon. Obviously, they just came off of a disappointing year where they ended up as a wild card. They started off really hot. They had a really bad cool down to finish the year off. But obviously, they made the wild card game and they lost to Tampa Bay. But this team is going to come back running out of the gates next year. And Jalen Hurts is absolutely phenomenal as a signal caller for AJ Brown. AJ Brown just came off of a 1,400 um, receiving yard season. And I mean, this team, I can't say any good things about this duo. Ever since AJ Brown was acquired by the Eagles, this duo is just absolutely taken off. Obviously, we wanted to see Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith be that QB wide receiver one duo, but now it's Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown as a QB WR1. And I mean, this team is phenomenal. They're so fun to watch. They're so dynamic. And yep, I think that this team is the fourth best QBWR1 duo for 2024. Right now, we're going to be moving into the top three. This is where a lot of people are going to have issues with my ranking, but this is what I believe in, so bear with me. Number three, I'm going to go with CD Lamb and Dak Prescott. Obviously, CD Lamb was second in receiving yards. He was 50 behind Tyreek Hill for the lead with 1,749. He led the entire NFL in receptions with 135. He had 12 receiving touchdowns, and he had such a phenomenal year in Dallas. Obviously, disappointed with their playoff run, as were many Dallas Cowboys fans. And Dak Prescott had another really good year. He had 36 passing touchdowns, which led the NFL outright. And if this duo can actually go far in the playoffs, I could see them becoming the best duo. A lot of people think they are the best duo, but for them to take that leap, I think they need to perform in the playoffs and show some signs of life. And this team has shown signs of life, but for now, they're in the 3 spot behind the next two. All right, so now moving into the number 2 spot, a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I'm going with Tua and Tyreek. Now, obviously, Tyreek was tied with Mike Evans for the most receiving touchdowns with 13, and he was 1 yard short of 1,800 receiving yards, and Tua led the entire NFL with 4,600 plus passing yards, I believe. And this duo is absolutely, absolutely incredible. I mean, ever since Miami acquired Tyreek, this duo has just exploded. I mean, Tyreek is one of the best route runners, the fastest guy in the entire NFL. And Tua, obviously, he's had some injury issues last year, but this guy can ball. This guy is able to perform. And now that Buffalo has lost Gabe Davis, now that Josh Allen has lost Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, his two best guys, Tyreek and Tua could definitely help Miami get the division lead, and they could end up winning the division for the first time in many, many years. I think the first time since 2008. So look for Tyreek and Tua to explode and have such a yet another phenomenal year in their third year together, actually. All right, now moving into the number 1 spot, I have to go with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I mean, the LSU boys, the Tigers, these guys exploded onto the scene ever since. Joe Burrow is a really good passer. You can pass to anybody like Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins at his disposal for the past couple years. But this duo is just special. We've obviously seen their chemistry from LSU and their college days together. That has transitioned over seamlessly into the National Football League. And obviously last year was disappointing because Joe Burrow ended the season with an injured wrist. But the year before that they made the championship game. The year before that they made the Super Bowl. I think this year they have a chance to make um a run and make another Super Bowl appearance. Obviously, I think that they're the only duo that can stop Patrick Mahomes dead in his tracks. We've seen him do it once. I mean, what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase do, I mean, they're, I think, one of the most fun, if not the most fun duo to watch in the entire NFL. So, yeah, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are my number one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit the like button, slam the subscribe button, hit me on all my social medias. Drop down comments below with your thoughts on what the best duos are, and where you agree or disagree. And leave comments down below on what videos you want to see next. NBA videos are coming up soon. But it's it's a little bit early because USA basketball is going on. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. This is TPS signing off. Peace out.